Hello, everyone. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover, and I'm back with another movie review. This one here I thought would be kind of fitting because it's horror related, and we're coming towards the Halloween season, and but also too, we here at Cinema77, we all know that we like the naughty stuff, the risque kind of after dark, kind of stuff. So, and this movie definitely has that. This is from 1974. It's called Exorcism, and it's directed, co-written, and starring Jess Franco. Now, the movie goes under the other title, Demoniac, which I could be wrong, but I think maybe. See, I got this on DVD. It's from Synapse. I got this on DVD for a good price at the Bookman's, but I could be wrong, but I think Redemption might have put this out on Blu-ray. I'm not 100% sure. I got to look into that. I really should have done my research before starting this video, but anyway, though, yeah. And this movie here, Jess Franco's masterpiece of satanic terror. Well, I gotta be honest with you, okay? This movie really, they kind of beef that up just a little too much, and it's not really what you think it is. Now, the movie really, okay, from the vaults of Eurocine comes this horrifying tale of sexual perversion and demonic rituals. Okay, that's kind of the thing. All right, this movie came out in 1974, so I think obviously the whole idea was like they really wanted to try to make this to be kind of like an Exorcist knockoff or something. So I think that was kind of really the whole idea was, if you love The Exorcist, you're going to love this. This is going to have, you know, head spinning around and vomiting pea soup and all that kind of stuff, which really this movie is not like that at all. This movie is definitely very different. Um, what the story is you have Jess Franco playing this character. I think his name is Paul, if I remember. Now, or does it say his character name? No, it doesn't say the character's name. Anyway, so but the character of Paul, he writes these stories for a sex magazine, and his stories usually talk about bondage and sacrifice and things like that. And we find out that his character was actually, that he was actually a defrocked priest, and he had been put away for a number of years in psychiatric help, and then they let him out, and so he decided that he was going to go ahead and start writing these short stories of erotic, was supposed to be erotic fiction, but they do sell well, and his stories really do get an audience, so he keeps writing these stories, and there's this one girl in his office that he's really, just infatuated with. And the girl is actually played by Lina Romay, who, I've talked about in movies before. Uh, I've talked about her in my review when I talked about the movie Rolls Royce Baby. I talked about her when I reviewed the movie, what was it, Female Vampire. And yeah, she's a beautiful actress. She's been in a lot of Jess Franco's films. Now, the thing is he's obsessed with her, and he's in love with her, but of course, she's completely creeped out by him, and he ends up actually taking an apartment right across the street from her apartment so that he can watch her, and he sees her and this other woman getting into um, girl on girl love and all that kind of stuff, seeing her get into some kinky business. And yes, in case if you're wondering, Lena Romay in this movie, you see everything. She shows it all. So, there's that. But what we find out about, the character is that he's mentally unstable. And it's an old trope that you've seen in a lot of horror films before. And this was definitely a big thing back in the day. A lot of horror films were really questioning about religion and the way that Catholicism and things like that, um, how they handle things, and are a lot of people who are into religion, and it's still a thing that goes on even today. It's like you find out so many people who do terrible things and they say they're doing it in the name of God. Well, we find out, Franco's character, that's what he's doing in this movie. He feels that it's on him that he needs to go around and start punishing all these people that he claims to be immoral. So he sees her character as immoral, but he wants to save her. And he feels that his idea of an exorcism is basically just, you know, saying prayers over people and then stabbing them to death and disemboweling them. So you kind of go. So that's kind of the trick of this movie, is that you really think you're going to go into this movie seeing, um, you think you're going to go into this movie seeing all kinds of stuff like, like I said, levitating and floating off the bed and all that kind of stuff. None of that is in this movie. Like I said, it's really more of a kind of like a slasher movie kind of a thing. And Franco's character, that's what he does. He goes and he stalks victims, and victims that he feels are morally corrupt, and he feels that it's his duty to save these people, and you know bring their souls to God, and but that's pretty much a lot of what the movie is. So anyway, it's not a bad film. I would definitely say, yeah, if you want to see the nudity and stuff, and like I said, Lina Romay here, she shows everything, So, and that was kind of the thing is, if you ever watch any interviews with Jess Franco, or you watch documentaries or interviews about him, they would always say that that was the thing, that Franco was very much in love um, with Lina Romay here, and they had a partnership for many many years, and even though they had like open relationship, they still loved each other very much, and they were both very anti-religious. Lena Romay was supposed to be notoriously anti-religious, and she really hated God, hated anything to do with religion. She was totally against all that stuff. And I believe Franco pretty much. I think he was raised Catholic, and you know, I think at some point even he decided he didn't want to be bothered with any of that either. So, but yeah, so pretty much the movie really is kind of and it kind of shows in this movie. It really is kind of a big kind of a middle finger to, religion and Catholicism and things like that, and really like trying to, um, you know, point the finger at these religious zealots who are always saying, like that they're following God's will and they're following God's law and stuff like that, but you know, really, they're doing all these terrible things, and it does seem that way. It does. I mean, you can understand why so many people these days are anti-religious, because you look on the news, look at how many of these, supposedly like Christian Baptist preachers or Catholic priests or whatever, they always get caught doing the most horrible things. It's like they get caught, molesting kids, or they get caught, with prostitutes, or, all kinds of, or they get caught stealing money, to finance their lavish lifestyle, things like that. So yeah, when you keep hearing about all these kind of things, yeah, it makes perfect degree of sense why a lot of people are anti-religious these days. And but that's pretty much really all the movie is in a nutshell. The movie, it runs about how many minutes? About 94 minutes, and to be truthfully honest with you, it really could have been trimmed down a little bit more. That does tend to be a thing that I kind of have a little bit of a gripe with um, about Jess Franco's movies, is that his movies, I mean, yeah, there are long sequences of pretty much just Lena Romay nude, other women nude, and apparently that was like a thing that I could kind of get behind that Franco was fascinated by these beautiful women and fascinated by their bodies, and he just wanted to photograph them. And it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I could kind of see that, and but like I said, unfortunately, when you're trying to make a 90-minute movie and you got to kind of keep your pace up, it really does kind of drag your movie down a little bit. And there are kind of like long sequences that really, you really could have used the editing scissors on this and it trimmed it down a little bit, and it really would have worked a whole lot better. But ultimately, though, it's not, go into this movie expecting something different, because this movie's not what you think it is. Like I said, everything on here is set up to kind of get you to think that this movie is going to be something in the vein of The Exorcist or Beyond the Door or something like that. And it's nothing like that at all. Really, it's just about a psychopath who's going around killing beautiful women because he feels that they're immoral. Like I said, he sees Lena Romay's character having girl on girl sex with this other woman and decides that, he needs to try to save her. And also too, that's the thing is they put on Lena Romay's character and these other girls, they put on these shows, and they put on kind of like exhibition shows where they're doing kind of like, BDSM, that kind of thing. And they decide that, and another thing that really, really sets off Franco's character is that they decide that with his, because they're reading his stories, and they're creeped out by him, and they're kind of disturbed by the stuff that he comes up with it in his mind and everything. So they decide, let's go ahead and start doing this, put on these shows where we're, kind of, sort of like a Grand Guignol kind of a thing. Let's do like satanic rituals where, they're fake, they're staged, but, it's like we're sacrificing people to Satan, things like that. And when they start doing that, and that's the thing, Franco's character, he takes that as they're mocking him and they're not taking him seriously and things like that. So that's why he decides too that he's going to kind of go on his little killing spree, and and so like there, it's like he picks up a girl in a bar and takes her to his place, and she thinks that they're going to get into wild kinky sex, and then he starts beating her and torturing her and things like that. So but yeah, there's if you want to know if there's nudity, yeah, there's plenty of nudity in it. This was when Franco started getting into, kind of, Franco did believe do some just kind of mainstream movies, but yeah, this was when he started kind of getting into his sleazy era, where his movies were more about sex and nudity and things like that. And but yeah, if you find Lina Romay a beautiful woman and you think she's sexy, and especially if you want to build a Lina Romay movie collection, some of her best, all nude shots and things like that, this is definitely one of the ones you need to add onto your list. So, but yeah. But I do have to admit, I mean, I know Franco co-wrote the script and stuff, but yeah, oh my God, the dialogue has so many issues with it, and the there are some moments. The acting can be pretty horrendous in this movie. It really can be. You got these two detectives, and they're just kind of doing this back and forth, and it's supposed to be kind of clever, and it's supposed to be kind of fun, but it's not. It's just cringeworthy. The dialogue that they come up with, like this hardened detective is picking on this other detective because he's more educated than him, and stuff like that, and it's just, oh boy. But yeah, if you just want to see it for the sex and the ritualistic killings and things like that, then yeah, here you go. Exorcism will definitely do you. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. So anyway, so yeah, it's my first movie review of Cinema 77. I haven't done this in a while, so it's good to be back. So if anybody took the time to watch this video, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. I'm going to start working on more videos for the channel, and yeah, it's good to be back. Also, too, check out my other. This one is going to be kind of more the uh, this is going to be more like the cult films and the erotic cinema and things like that, and you know, um, stuff like that. But if you want, like if you're into the horror stuff, then check out my other channel, Horror Heaven 77. Um, yeah, a lot of good stuff on there too. That's where, I'm going to be doing the haul videos. If you're a fan of those, going to be doing the urban legend videos, things like that. So yeah, please check it out. And until next time, this is Cinema 77 Horror Cult Film Lover. Take care. Have a good night.